got the right one. Resident Evil Requiem. It's right here. Exactly. So yeah, we're gonna play this. I'm so excited. I saw a lot of people playing this now because it just released. So I'm so excited to get into this. So yeah, let's just hop right in. Experience this together. Hope it's not too scary. Choose the skin color. You step out of the worn-out house, the door creaking behind you as it swings shut. The weight of your gear drags at your body, but it's not just the equipment, it's the years. You've been preparing for this night longer than you care to admit. Every step feels heavy, but you can't stop, not now. Your gaze lingers on the windows. Inside, the shadows of your old life remain, a life that feels like a ghost now. Photographs on the walls, dust-covered remnants of forgotten hobbies. There was a time when you had dreams, other dreams. But they've long since crumbled, replaced by a singular, consuming purpose, hunting. You hear it. Birds flapping in a hurried ascent, you know what that means. Sunset is close. It's time. The bonfire pierces the encroaching darkness, a lone beacon amidst the towering trees. You finish threading the barbed wire from tree to tree, building a harsh perimeter around the clearing, a trap with no escape. Your gaze drifts toward the horizon as the sun sinks lower, disappearing behind the trees, casting long shadows that stretch like dark figures crawling at the ground. You need to be fast. They'll come soon. Oh, first decision. Okay, now this is crazy. I don't know what I can do here that can prevent my life from not being here. I think I'm going to put tripwires outside the clearing as well. You extend the explosives beyond the clearing, placing tripwires along the outer perimeter. If any of them manage to slip past the first line of defense, these will catch them. Tonight, there's no escape. The forest deepens into a shadow as you finish setting the tripwires. You nod, satisfied, but there's one last step. Pulling out a knife, you make a swift cut across your palm, letting out your blood drip onto the soil. It's dark, almost black in the fading light, and the ground drinks it up, vanishing as quickly as it falls. You wrap the wound with a strip of cloth, tightening it until the pain is just a dull throb. You don't usually do this. They're already drawn to the living. But today is different. You need all of them to come. You've tried tracking them to their lairs before, but the tunnels are too winding, too deep, too impossible to navigate. So instead, you draw them out, just like they lure humans, using their scent to pull people to their deaths. It's a brutal contest of hunters, and you intend to be the last one standing. Sliding the gas mask over your face, the rubber cool and constricting against your skin, you settle behind a tree. A sharp pang of isolation digs into you. You wish you didn't have to do this alone, but the remaining townsfolk have changed. Consumed by whatever creatures emit, they become something else, something hollow. You need to put a stop to this before they sacrifice someone else. The last rays of sunlight disappear, leaving a dense, suffocating silence. It's as if the forest itself is holding its breath, aware of what's coming. Your hands tremble slightly as you grip the flamethrower, its metal cold, despite the sweat on your palms. You done over there? Boy scratching behind me. There's a scratch post behind me, that's why. I probably should move that, but... As soon as the creatures step into the clearing, their explosives will rip right through the first wave, and the barbed wire will hold the rest in place. Then more will come. You'll pick them off, wave by wave, until there's nothing left but ash. After all these years of hunting, it all comes down to this. Tonight, either you kill them all, or they finally take you. Coming up. It's horrible timing right now. My cat's here. Leon drives into the city, the streets dead and abandoned, another ghost town, courtesy of Umbrella. Boarded windows, doors nailed shut, like they're trying to keep something out, or in. He wonders how many more are there. He thought that after Umbrella's downfall, they had dealt with all of them, but every now and then, another one pops up. He feels it, a prickle in the back of his neck. His eyes flick to a cracked window as he passes, but there's nothing there, just shadows, shifting with the last light of day. Hate it when the neighbors are this quiet. sun sinks lower, bleeding orange and red across the sky. He sighs, tapping his fingers on the handlebars. He wanted to get here earlier, but the mission briefing dragged on and the local cops weren't exactly helpful. When he asked if they'd seen anything strange, they all gave him the same blank stare. Nope, nothing, sir. He's not sure if they're lying, clueless, or just terrified. His GPS flashes, guiding him toward the lab on the outskirts. It's nestled in the forest up on a hill. Easy enough, right? Just find the missing team, check the lab, and get out. Simple. Except it never is. Leon kills the engine and swings off the bike. The sun's wrapping around him. The air feels wrong. Too still. The kind of stillness that gets under your skin. Okay, Leon. Just another spooky forest. What could go wrong? He moves on foot. The ground soft under his boots. Dead leaves muffling his steps. His hand hovers near his gun. The path is narrow, overgrown, and the shadows stretch out long in the fading light. Then he sees it, a flickering light through the trees. Leon stops, narrowing his eyes. Someone's here. Maybe it's the missing team or something else. He steps off the path, crouching low behind a tree for cover, watching a bonfire pulse in the dark. Whoever's camping out there has terrible taste and ambiance. Then a faint smell hits him, sweet, cloying, almost floral. He grips his gun tighter, muscles tensing as his instincts kick in. This isn't the usual rotting stench of BOWs. This is different, wrong. Whatever's ahead, it feels like it's calling to him. The last of the sunlight slips behind the trees. Darkness closes in, and the light flickers again, casting eerie shadows that seem to reach out for him. He moves forward, slowly and steady, his senses on high alert. He's done this before, more times than he'd care to remember. Whatever's waiting in the dark is not going to catch him off guard. Leon's head is getting foggy. He senses dulled. He can see the fire now, a huge bonfire lighting up the dark. Spotting an opening, he steps forward, but something brushes against his chest. A wire. Why is he blushing? Anyways, did I miss something? I missed a page or something. He's blushing. The faint beeping reaches him a second too late. I guess I really walked into that one. The tripwire triggers, a deafening blast tearing through the air. Oh, so because I put tripwires on the outside of the fence, I killed Leon. Whoa! Hey, this is crazy. They really up the ante of the new Resident Evil, I have to say. Let's do this again. Okay, so this time we're gonna put tripwires only on the inside of the clearing. There we go. So now, this time when Leon comes, he's not gonna die. Okay, here we are. You listen, breath fogging the inside of your gas mask. The forest feels suffocating, every shadow pressing in, thick with tension. A sharp creaking noise breaks the silence, the sound of shitness? Shit? Are you trying to make me say shitness? Shitness. Shitness. Is it shitness? Is this shitness? Is this shitness? Is this shitness or chitness? Is it shitness or chitness? Tell me in the comments below. Is it shitness or is it chitness? The sound of shitness, legs scraping over dry bark. The familiar clicks and snaps you've come to associate with the creatures. They're here. Your heart pounds. You steady your breath, and the filtered air dry and stale against your lips. Fingers tightening around the flamethrower. You prepare to rise from your hiding spot, every muscle coiled. But then, movement catches your eye. A figure slipping through the clearing. A man. You freeze, watching as he steps closer to your traps. Wait, is he... He's disabling your tripwires. Your pulse races, heart hammering in your ears. Without thinking, you sprint from your spot, weaving through the traps you've committed to memory. You! Stop! Your voice comes out muffled, distorted by the mask, but he halts, turning to face you. For a split second, you're taken aback. He's not what you expected. Sharp features, piercing eyes, striking in a way that seems out of place here. Not the kind of person you expect to stumble into a nightmare like this. Your gaze flickers to his hand, hovering near his gun. Posture tense and controlled. Definitely not a civilian. Can I save? Can I do a save? Options? Never mind. Okay, I think I'm gonna say these traps are mine. I'd appreciate it if you didn't mess with them. He glances around at the scattered wires, looking almost amused. Oh, my bad. How many did you disable already? He tilts his head, thinking for a moment. A few. You curse under your breath, gripping the flamethrower tighter, just your luck. A clueless outsider ruining the day you've waited for years. Why do you need so many explosives? I'm hunting. His eyes shift to the flamethrower in your hands, then to the barbed wire strung between trees. You have a rather unconventional way of hunting. You take a steadying breath. No time for this. You're not from this town, are you? You really should leave now. Your gaze drifts to the tree line, where you sense movement. The scent is starting to seep in, that sickly sweet floral odor that the creatures emit. He's not wearing a mask. Already you see a slight daze in his eyes. He won't last long if they get too close. The man shakes his head, taking a step closer. Not an option. I've got to get into that lab, and this is the only way through. You fidget with the flamethrower, torn between curiosity and frustration. Whoever he is, he needs to leave. You have no idea what's out there. Turn around. Wait until morning. Whatever you're looking for at the lab, it's already been ransacked. But do whatever you want, just not right now. A familiar sound echoes to the forest. The same clicking. The same sickening creak. They're getting closer. He hears it too. His stance shifting, eyes narrowing. What exactly are you hunting? Before you can respond, yellow eyes blink to life at the edge of the woods. Dozens of them, gleaming like fireflies in the dark, shifting as they lock on to you. There are more than you expected, likely drawn by his scent as well. You can't fight them all without the explosives. Run! You don't wait for his response. Explosives erupt, the ground shaking underfoot, but the creatures charge through the smoke faster than you anticipated. You dash forward, dodging traps, weaving through the maze of wires and explosives. Gunshots ring out behind you. You glance back, catching sight of him, firing at the creatures as he runs, somehow keeping pace. Save your bullets, it won't kill them. A sharp crack sounds. Suddenly, warm air seeps into the mask. A piece of debris must have punctured it. You're exposed now. No spare within reach. You can only keep running. Barreling through the underbrush, you fire the flamethrower behind you. A wave of fire scorching the air. The creatures shriek and stumble back, but keep coming. You see him aim, shooting one of the explosives rigged to a nearby tree. The explosion rocks the clearing and smoke blankets everything, the force erupting into chaos. You run until you're far away, gasping as you tear off the broken mask. The cool night air fills your lungs, but it feels like failure. Everything you built is gone. The traps, the explosives, all of it, wasted. The man catches up, glancing back at the smoke and fire flickering in the distance. His gun is still in hand, and he looks unfazed. Quite the fireworks show back there. He looks back at you, raising an eyebrow. What were those things? You fought them before, right? Your blood boils and you throw the broken mask to the ground. Oh. I mean, it's also our fault because we didn't put the tripwire on the outside of the fence as well, which would have helped. But it's also his fault for disabling the explosives. So this is a 50-50 situation. How do I save? You should have kept going, should have stuck with the plan and ignored the outsider. Your fury fades, giving way to a hollow sense of defeat. I prepared for this day for a long time. I was going to kill all of them. There's no way you could have taken them all down on your own. You shake your head, chuckling low as tears prickle at your eyes. You have no energy left to argue. Right. I should have known. I've already failed so many people. What's one more mistake? Look, I didn't mean to mess things up. Leave, outsider, before you mess things up even further. It's not safe here. He narrows his eyes, looking at you with a calm that only makes your frustration flare hotter. Not for me, for you. You're going to get yourself killed if you keep this up. Excuse me, you're the one who almost got yourself killed back there. I'm trained for this. I can handle it. You don't know these things like I do. They lure you with their scent. You want to get to the lab now? Go ahead, but you'll end up like everyone else who's tried. Dead. He pauses, and for the first time, you see his expression soften slightly as he studies you. You see a team come through here. A lot of people come through here. They go through the lab, they get what they want, and they leave us to our fate. Or they go and never come back. Whoever you're looking for, they're probably dead or worse. The man looks back toward the forest, his expression turning somber, thoughtful. I need to get to the lab and figure out what happened to them. I'm not leaving until I do. You shake your head in surprise, of course. They're all the same. Good luck. You'll need it. Without waiting for a response, you turn and march away, ignoring the ache in your chest. You have to start all over again, rebuild, rearm. Your hand finds the pendant resting against your chest. You grip it tightly, letting the familiar shape pressing into your skin. I'm sorry. You storm back to the house, slamming the door behind you. The gear drops from your hands, but you barely notice. All you think about is him, the arrogant outsider with his stoic face. You grit your teeth. He's going to get himself killed. You know it. He doesn't even have a mask. The second he gets close to the lab, he's good as dead. You told him to leave, warned him what was out there. If he dies, that's on him. You owe him nothing. He ruined your plan, your final chance at saving the rest of this town. But the thought of him stumbling into the lab, clueless, gnaws at you. Why the hell do you care? You shouldn't. You don't. Despite the hunter's aggression, Leon decides to heed her warning. He waits until early morning before heading to the lab, her sharp words still lingering in his mind. He can't shake the thought that she left too abruptly, without giving him a real chance to help. He could have used more intel, and maybe kept an eye on her too. The last thing he wants is to watch another life get swallowed by Umbrella's mess. They've taken too much already. He shakes his head, recalling the fierce determination in her eyes, the way she seemed set on wiping out those creatures at any cost. There's no doubt in his mind that BOWs are involved here. He's seen enough of Umbrella's twisted work to recognize the signs. It's almost oppressive in a grim way that she's held her ground for so long. The lab looms ahead, abandoned and half crumbled. He pushes through the entrance. The hunter hadn't been lying. The place had been thoroughly ransacked. Papers scattered, equipment smashed. Whoever was here is long gone. Perfect. More loose ends. Umbrella had so many labs scattered around the globe, it's nearly impossible to track them all down. Some, like this one, escaped the government's eye, but not the mercenaries. He looks around, wondering what they stole this time, and what it might lead to. Another outbreak, another bioweapon. It's always something. As soon as he finds out what the new threat is, the better. Maybe the rest of the town and that hunter can still be saved. He pauses, his mind drifting back to Spain, the village, the people, so many lives destroyed, so many people who never had a chance. He clenches his fists, wishing again that he could stop it all for good. But nothing is ever that simple. He's just one man, fighting an endless war. Still, he'll do what he can, like he always does. He pulls himself back to the present, focusing on the task. After rummaging through a few cabinets, he finds a torn notebook, its pages smudged with age and grime. Seems like a personal diary of a lead scientist. April 12, 1988. Initial tests with the mold on humans have been promising, though at great cost. Mortality rates are high, but I'm confident we will create a host strong enough to receive the progenitor virus. November 3rd, 1990. I seem to have found a way to reduce the mortality rates, but the subjects are changing, disturbingly so. They're becoming more moth-like, though imperfectly. The process of HGT appears to be responsible. These hybrids are now half human, half insect, emitting a powerful scent that draws humans toward them. The smell acts like the pheromones of female moths, inducing a heightened arousal state in those nearby. Masks are now mandatory for all personnel in the test areas. Subjects must remain contained at all costs. This might prove useful to capture new test subjects. August 14th, 1992. The townsfolk whisper about a creature of folklore roaming the forest, which serves our purpose well. A new development. Subjects have begun reproducing. Their larvae feed exclusively on human flesh. I am uncertain if these offspring will be able to receive the virus, but it's a potential breakthrough. We will continue observation. March 2nd, 1993. Disappointing results. The offspring are weak, unable to withstand viral integration. It appears that the strength of the parents is critical. Only the strongest hosts can pass on resilience. The weaker offspring have been discarded. I will require more test subjects, stronger young adults, preferably those in their physical prime. This town's population will be depleted soon if we're not careful. Leon flips the pages, but dozens of entries are missing, years torn away, leaving only the final one, frantic, scrawled handwriting, as if the scientist had written it in his last desperate moments. February 8th, 2003. Umbrella has cut us off. The facility is compromised. Someone set the creatures loose. They're everywhere, and the staff have begun to fall. I managed to escape with my mask intact, but the end is near. There's no redemption for me, but I will seek forgiveness all the same. The church, perhaps it's the last place I'll find peace. After that, I leave this cursed town for good. The church, huh? He radios Hunnigan, relaying the situation and the contents of the diary. She promises to notify the higher-ups and arrange for reinforcements, but of course it'll take time. Leon sighs. Reinforcements always take time. I'll send you the blueprints we have on file for the lab. There's mention of an underground facility. Looks like you'll need a keycard to get in. Understood. Thanks. He follows her directions and finds the door to the underground section, but as she warned, it's locked tight. He'll need to get in if he wants to find out what happened to the missing team. Just as he's about to search elsewhere, he hears a faint noise. Then, a familiar scent reaches him. A sickly sweet, cloying with a strange floral edge. Didn't the hunter say these things only came out at night? The smell thickens, his head swimming slightly. He snaps his gun up, instincts kicking in as something shovels closer in the dark. He fires, the gunshot ringing out, but the creature barely slows, advancing with a twisted, insectoid screech. And then flames light up the room. He turns, catching sight of the hunter, her face obscured by her gas mask. Relief flares up, but it's brief. Which part of bullets don't work didn't you get, or do you just like wasting ammo? Leon's jaw tightens, annoyance replacing his earlier relief. Of course, she has to make this difficult. The man catches up with you outside, his eyes narrowed, but you can almost see a flicker of relief beneath his guarded expression. You were following me? Next time, if you want to get a closer look, maybe just ask. I wanted to see if you were as competent as you claimed. You give him a once-over, unimpressed. Clearly not. I had everything under control. You scoff, not even trying to hide your frustration. Sure, if you plan to stick around, you'll need a mask, outsider. I won't always be here to save your ass. Name's Leon. And I figured that out myself, thanks. You shake your head and turn on your heel, ready to leave him to his fate. I found a door to the underground section of the lab. You pause, glancing back. The creatures probably hide there during the day. That's where their nests are. You'd never be able to kill them all without going down there. And to get in, we'll need a keycard. He nods toward the lab entrance, then looks back at you, his gaze steady. And supplies, if we want to blow this place sky high. You raise an eyebrow, skeptical. We? I'm not thrilled about it, but you're going to keep hunting them anyway, right? Might as well join forces. You search his face for any sign of deceit, but he just stares back, annoyingly calm. You don't trust this guy, but you're willing to take any chance to end this, even if it means teaming up. I'm gonna say fine. Well, that was easy. Keep talking, I'll change my mind. You pull an old, worn-out map of the town from your jacket. Leon leans in to look at the map, his shoulder brushing against yours. For a moment, you catch the scent of him, sweat and smoke from the fight, mixed with something faintly sharp, like aftershave. It's oddly distracting, and you step back with a glare. Here's the layout of the town. Most of the gas masks have been destroyed by the townsfolk, but we might find a few at the... You swallow, your throat tightening. Fire station. His eyes flick to you, catching the hesitation in your voice. Why did the townsfolk destroy the masks? Memories flash through their mind, a glassy-eyed townsfolk in a crazed frenzy, their minds lost to the pheromones, the endless orgies. The endless what? Whoa! This new Resident Evil game's kind of crazy. The way they practically worship the creatures now, like twisted prophets of some new grotesque religion. It's against their beliefs. I had a few spare ones, but they got destroyed yesterday thanks to the noisy outsider. Maybe you should have kept them somewhere safer. And maybe you should have never come here. A faint smirk tugs at his lips, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Then I've missed out on meeting such a charming person as yourself. You glare, hitting the way he just won't back down, the way he seems to find humor in every jab. And where can we find explosives? You jab a finger at a spot on the map. Here, the construction site. There should be some left in the crates. With any luck, they're still intact. Leon studies the map with a furrowed brow, then nods. The key card is probably at the church. I found a note about it, back at the lab. He looks up, meeting your gaze with that infuriating calm. You're the local. Where do you want to start? Oh, can I be honest? I wasn't really paying attention. I just read. I think she's mentioned something about the construction site. So let's go there. The construction site looks the same as you remember. Rusting metal frames, cracked concrete, and piles of debris waiting to collapse at any moment. A maze of danger, even before the creatures started to roam. You got most of the explosives out over the years, but there were always a few crates in the places too risky to reach on your own. Maybe now, with Leon's help, you can finally grab the rest. As you lead him through the site, you feel the weight of his gaze scanning the area, always assessing, always alert. Classic Leon for you. He moves like a trained agent, calculated, confident. He makes it all look so easy, like he's strolling through a park instead of a half-collapsed death trap. Then, voices echo through the steel beams, faint but unmistakable. You and Leon freeze at the same time. We need to clear all this junk out. She's still using these damn explosives. I don't know where she keeps finding more of them. Shit, you can't see them, but you can hear their footsteps crunching through the rubble. Too many of them to handle head on. Tension coils in your gut as you look at Leon, who's already watching you with that annoyingly calm expression. If you want to search this in peace, we need to get rid of them. Or we could just sneak past them. You shoot him a withering glare, voice dripping with sarcasm. Yeah, because that worked out so well for me in the past. These people aren't exactly blind, Leon. Getting them to leave is safer. Sneaking past them is smarter. Less chance of getting caught. There between you crackles, each of you digging in your heels, neither willing to back down. I don't know. I feel like he's smarter than me. But also, the main character is aware of these specific people more than Leon, because he just came into this situation unaware of like the floral scents and whatever. So I think I'm going to make them leave. I don't know if that's going to change anything. Go talk to them. What? Me? Yes, tell them you saw a woman in the forest with explosives and you came to warn them. Leon gives you a look, somewhere between skeptical and annoyed. What, you think I'm some kind of actor? You already act like a clown half the time, shouldn't be too hard. He rolls his eyes, muttering something under his breath, but after a reluctant shake of his head, he disappears into the shadows. You stay back, listening to him spin the tale you fed him. His voice is low and steady, just convincing enough. Before long, hurried footsteps echo through the construction site as the townsfolk move off in the direction he pointed them. Leon reappears, looking surprised. They must really hate you. Ready to admit my plan was the best? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Even a broken clock's right twice a day. You scowl, but he jerks his head in a silent gesture to keep moving. You lead him deeper into the site, moving cautiously over the broken concrete. When you reach a ledge, he steps forward to help you up. You're surprised by the strength in his grip, the steadiness, and for just a second, you're almost impressed. The crates are over here, but don't get too comfortable. The scaffolding's a mess. One wrong move and you'll be buried. Got it. Falling debris, just another Tuesday. You roll your eyes and start to gather explosives from the crates, putting them in the bag. You move to a different crate and try to pry it open. Let me. I can do it. I know, but it's quicker this way. You huff as he steps in, taking your spot with that infuriating calm. But in his eagerness, his shirt snags on a jagged piece of metal jutting out from the crate, tying down one side to expose a strip of bare skin. You can't help but that smirk that tugs at your lips. Nice one, Agent. He looks down at the ruined shirt, unimpressed. Just what I needed. You turn back to explosives, putting them in the bag, trying to ignore the rustling fabric behind you. But when you glance over... Oh, I got the explosives. Why are you naked? But when you glance over, he's shrugging off the shirt entirely, leaving his upper body bare. Every line of muscle and scar explodes in dim light. For a second, you're caught off guard, your eyes lingering over the hard planes of his chest and the subtle movement of his shoulders. You force yourself to look away, jaw clenched, but he notices, and he's clearly not letting you off the hook. Didn't think you'd get distracted that easily. You clench your jaw, willing your pulse to steady. I'm just wondering if you plan on strutting around like that. We're here for supplies, not a show. He chuckles, tossing the torn shirt aside with a smirk. As much as you'd love that, I've got a spare on my bike. You roll your eyes and shove the heavy bag of explosives into his arms. You're not as charming as you think. Right, lead the way then, unless you're waiting for an invitation. He hoists the bag over his shoulder, effortlessly, the movement drawing attention to the shift of muscles beneath the skin. You force yourself to turn on your heel, marching ahead without a glance back, though you can practically feel the smirk he's still wearing. By the time they reach her house, the sky has deepened to a dark, heavy blue, and the evening chill has settled around them. She stops abruptly at her door, noticing a bloody note tacked to the wood, a smudge of crimson smeared across the words. She reads it with a scoff, crumbles it in her hand, and tosses it aside without a second thought. Leon glances down, catching the shrieks of ink mixed with dried blood. What does it say? She gives a dry, humorless laugh. One of those town leaders is warning me off, saying I've killed too many of their precious creatures. They don't like the balance being disrupted. She shrugs, an edge of bitterness in her voice. They've tried to stop me before, nothing new. Aren't they going to come after you for that? Let them try. Her tone is sharp, edged with the wariness that speaks of repetition. If they do, I have other hideouts. She pushes the door open, stepping inside without looking back. Leon follows, and the place hits him like a wall. A strange, stifling mix of mothballs and plant oils, the windows sealed tightly, curtains drawn to block out any stray pheromones. As she moves through this small space, her movements are precise, each step purpose-driven. She glides over to a concealed compartment in the floor, pulls it open, and retrieves a gallon of fuel, refilling the flamethrower with a practiced hand. She doesn't spare him a glance, acting as if he were just another fixture in the room, another afterthought. Leon watches her, seeing himself reflected in her harsh routines, the methodical way she checks every corner. Every movement screams survival, but it's more than that. She's wrapped herself in layers of armor, bound tight by invisible barbed wire keeping the world at arm's length. He's worn that same armor himself, felt the sting of each barb. He knows how hard it is to let anyone get close. You sit on a worn chair, focusing on tending to your wounds, cleaning and wrapping them with quick, experienced movements. Leon is scanning your space, his eyes drawn to a small cluster of faded photographs on a shelf. His fingers hover over one of them, hesitating. When did this all start? You keep your eyes on your wound, tightening the bandages just a little too hard. 3 years ago. A pause, then you add, almost as if you're forcing yourself to speak. The creatures have been moving around as long as I can remember. They take a few people each month, and no one would care unless it was family. Just some old folklore, a story to scare kids into staying inside after dark. You take a breath, fighting down the memories clawing their way up. But when the lab shut down, everything changed. They came every night, like clockwork, taking anyone outside after dark. Anyone who didn't make it inside was gone by morning. Now it seems they hunt whenever they need to, and it helps that the townspeople offer them sacrifices every week without fail. The room goes silent, your words hanging in the air like a shadow. You brace yourself for him to ask about the people in the photos, about your family, about the ones you lost. But instead, his voice is quieter, weighted with something you can't quite place. Why didn't you leave? You freeze, your hands still on the bandages. You don't answer right away, letting his questions settle into the silence. Then, you resume tending to your wound, though your voice is flat and controlled. I made a promise. I'm not leaving until every last one of those things is dead. There's no point in a promise if you're not around to see it through. He nods toward the wounds you've earned along the way, and you roll your eyes. Spare me the lecture. Someone had to fight. It just ended up being me. He steps closer, and your body goes rigid, instinctively pulling back. But he holds out a small tin, something herbal and pungent with a mix of earthy scents, lavender and other sharper herbs. What is this? For injuries, works wonders. Hesitantly, you take it, and your eyes never leaving his. You study him for a beat, finally breaking the silence. Who exactly are you? He looks at you, his expression unreadable, a flicker of something cautious before he answers. Government agent. It makes sense now. His calm in the face of creatures, the way he handled himself during the day, but doesn't explain everything. You said you were trained for this kind of situation. How many times have you dealt with things like this? Too many. He sighs, and for a moment, his face softens, his guard slipping, just enough for you to catch a glimpse of something deeper. I was a rookie cop the first time it happened. I had to learn the hard way, and afterwards I didn't exactly have a choice. For a brief second, you see something raw in his eyes, something that feels uncomfortably close to your own reflection. You didn't have a choice either, not in any of this. Why didn't you leave? Surprise flickers across his face, and for an instant, you catch a glimpse of something like pain. It's not that simple. You think you might finally get something real out of him, a piece of truth to hold on to, but then, just as quickly, his walls snap back into place, and someone has to fight. It just ended up being me. You let out a hollow chuckle, but stop yourself before it fully escapes. You can't afford to get comfortable around him. Even if he doesn't seem like a threat now, you remind yourself that he's just another outsider. For all you know, he's only being nice to get under your skin, to make you lower your guard, only to leave like everyone else has. You shove the tin of herbal medicine back at him, a bit more forcibly than necessary. Here, agent, you'll need it more than me. He looks down at it, raising an eyebrow as he takes it back, his expression somewhere between amused and unimpressed. Your reckless confidence is almost charming. Careful, don't fall in love. Don't worry, not happening. Good. You settle onto the couch, lying down with half an eye on the door, the other on Leon, who sits a few feet away with his back to the wall, quietly disassembling and cleaning his guns. Your eyes close, but your mind stays alert, every creak of the old house keeping you tethered to consciousness. It isn't just threats outside that keep you awake, it's a stranger sharing your space, the one who could throw everything you've worked for into chaos. Sleep, I'll take first watch. You start to protest, but he cuts you off with a steady look. If we're going to be a team, you'll need to trust me. You don't respond, but you allow yourself to sink into a light, restless sleep, your senses half-tuned to the sounds of the night. The hours stretch on, the room cloaked in heavy silence, and yet, with Leon there, for the first time in months, it doesn't feel quite as suffocating. Despite the friction, the guarded words, the walls he refused to lower, his presence makes the silence just a little less unbearable. You wake to the sound of soft clattering in the kitchen. Your muscles are stiff, your body is still on high alert, but as you blink your eyes open, the scent of something cooking hits your senses, something you haven't smelled in a long time. You sit up, rubbing the sleep from your eyes. The morning light filters through the cracked window, casting muted shadows across the room. When you finally focus, you see him, Leon, standing by the stove, frying something in a pan, his back turned to you. Oh, what are you doing? Who said you could touch my stuff? Leon doesn't even turn around, his shoulders shift slightly, as if brushing off your comment. Good morning to you too. You walk over, eyeing the state of your kitchen. You're making a mess. A little mess never killed anyone, unlike other things around here. You're welcome, by the way. You cross your arms, leaning against the wall. Grateful? Sure, but no way are you going to give him the satisfaction of knowing that. I didn't ask you to cook. He plates the food and sets it down on the table, gesturing to it with a casual wave. You eye the meal with narrowed eyes, suspicious but intrigued. Leon shrugs. Dig in or don't. More for me. You sit down, reluctantly, glancing at the food. Simple but warm. The smell is actually kind of nice, though you'd never admit that either. It's better than anything you've had in a while. You pick up a fork, stabbing into the food without much ceremony, but you're already feeling a little less irritated. Where are we going today? You ask, trying to steer the conversation back to something practical, something that doesn't feel domestic. Leon sits across from you, shrugging as he eats. You recall. I think the church is the last area, right? So we go to the fire station and then we go to the church? Because I feel like this is the last area. You take a deep breath and walk inside the fire station, just as empty and abandoned as it was the last time you came here. But now, sitting inside it again, you feel the weight pressing down harder than before. The memories flood back uninvited, the sound of your father's voice, the sight of him in his gear, the pride in his eyes when you talk about the work he did. Leon's gaze shifts from the building to you. His expression unreadable. He must sense the tension in your posture, the way your shoulders have gone rigid. The layout's simple. First floor has the main room, storage, some lockers. Upstairs, risky. There's probably nothing we need up there. You know an awful lot. Not that it's any of your business, but I used to come here a lot. My father worked here. The admission slips before you can stop it. You immediately regret saying anything, but you don't dare glance back to gauge his reaction. You keep your eyes on the decaying facade, hoping he won't push any further. But of course, he does. He hesitates, then adds in a softer tone. If this place means something to you, we can take your time. You stop in your tracks, turning to him. He's looking at you with something that almost resembles understanding, and for a moment, it's disarming. You feel a flicker of warmth beneath the walls you've built, a sense of being seen that makes you feel exposed in a way you're not used to. You try to hide the vulnerability slipping through your defenses, meeting his gaze with a hard stare. I don't need your sympathy, Leon. He holds up his hands in a mock surrender, though there's something else in his eyes, something that feels dangerously close to empathy. Fine, no sympathy, just saying it's okay to feel something about all this. His words hang between you, making your heart pound just a bit faster. You ignore it, turning back to the station. Being here already hurts enough. You don't need him digging around in your scars. Let's go. He scans the room, eyes narrowed, assessing. We should still check the second floor. Could be more supplies up there. The structure's a mess. It's better if you stick to the first floor. Make sure we don't miss anything. His eyes narrow, his stance firm as he's digging in his heels, just to challenge you. And if we miss something important because we played it safe, might be worth the risk, don't you think? His eyes catch yours, a glint of challenge in them. He knows you hate being questioned, especially here, and damn him, you can tell he's doing it on purpose. You bite into the inside of your cheek, feeling the familiar irritation of flare, but there's something else mixed in now, something warmer that you can't quite place. Follow Leon's idea. Follow Leon. You roll your eyes, but sigh, relenting. Fine, let's go to the second floor then, but if you get yourself killed, don't expect me to drag your corpse back out. Because you know you care. The words hang in the air, teasing and taunting. You brush past him, pretending not to feel the heat that spreads across your cheeks. Together, you make your way up the creaking staircase. The floorboards groan underfoot, and each step feels like it could be the last. Just as you're about to turn back, Leon gestures to a dusty corner near a row of broken lockers. 2 gas masks lie there, half hidden beneath some debris. Found something. But before you can respond, the floor beneath you gives a sudden, violent lurch. You let out a gasp, stumbling as the wood cracks and shifts beneath your feet. Leon reacts instantly, grabbing you by the arm and pulling you against him, just as the ground crumbles beneath you both. You land on top of him, bodies pressed together, his arms wrapped around your waist. His breath brushes over your cheek, warm and unsettling, and you're all too aware of his hands on your back, holding you steady. For a second, you're both frozen, his heartbeat pounding against your chest, his face inches from yours. Guess I was right about the floor. You try to keep your tone snarky, but your voice comes out breathless. He smirks, but his gaze is heavy, lingering a little too long on your lips. Yeah, good call. For a moment, neither of you moves. The silence feels thick, charged. Then you pull away, standing up a little too quickly, brushing yourself off as if that could rid you of the lingering warmth of his touch. You grab the two masks, your fingers trembling just as slightly, and you turn to head back down the stairs, refusing to look his way. As you're moving, your hand brushes against something small and solid in the dust. You stop, bending down to pick it up, and your breath catches. It's a photograph, worn and faded, edges curling from age, your father and his colleagues smiling and alive, and their faces blurred out but unmistakable. You swallow hard, feeling a lump form in your throat as the past closes in on you, more tangible than ever. Find anything else? You hesitate, glancing down at the photo, debating whether to keep it to yourself, but something about the moment loosens your grip on your walls. You hand him the picture, the vulnerability foreign but strangely freeing. My dad. He studies the photograph, his expression softening. The usual sarcasm, the edge melting away. For a second, it's like he actually sees you, sees past the fences, past the prickly exterior. Guess good looks really do run in the family. Sorry, that just caught me off guard for a second. The sunlight catches you off guard, and your cheeks heat up despite yourself, but then he smirks, the hint of softness disappearing as quickly as it came. Oh, shut up. You grab the photo back, slipping it into your jacket and brushing past him, heading out the station with a mix of frustration and something lighter. You step into the sunlight, you realize there's a small smile playing on your lips. The ride back to her place is shrouded in the rich amber glow of the setting sun, casting long shadows across the path. Leon tries to focus on the road, but it's hard to ignore the warmth of her thighs pressed against him. The way her grip tightens every time they hit a bump. She's distracting, an infuriating, impossible to ignore way. As they near her place, he spots a small group gathered on a street corner. The voice is low but thick with tension. She taps his shoulder, signaling for him to stop. They both listen, half hidden in the deepening shadows. Bodies in the forest. She's done it again. She needs to be stopped. Leon's gaze shifts, taking in the bruises and scars wrapped around the group's wrists, legs, and even their necks. Dark marks that look like chains binding them to something unseen. She'll get what she deserves soon. He glances back at her. She rolls her eyes, acting unfazed by the words. But he doesn't miss the way her hands clench into the handles by the bike's seat, knuckles turning white. Eventually, the group disperses, and Leon nudges the bike forward, guiding it through the empty streets as dusk descends around them. Silence stretches between them, thick and charged, until he breaks it. What's with the scars? She's quiet for a moment, gaze fixed on the road ahead, her voice dropping in a low, almost resigned tone. They tie themselves down while they breathe in the creature's scent. It keeps them from wandering into the woods and getting killed. But the aphrodisiac effect still lingers. They're too far gone, all of them. A shiver runs down his spine. Unexpected and unwelcome, he decides to shift the mood. Well, it turns out you're pretty popular around here. She huffs, as if shaking off the weight of the conversation. I'm the most popular in town. Get your facts right. He accelerates the bike, jolting it forward as they weave through the empty streets. Her arms instinctively wrap around his waist, pressing her body firmly against his back. Glancing over his shoulder, he smirks. You better hold on, Miss Popular. I'll hold on, all right. Just tight enough to choke you out. She pinches his side hard, and he fakes a yelp of pain through a grin, catching the smile in her voice. At least he managed to break through her walls, even if just for a moment. You sit on the floor, turning your focus to your bandages. Leon managed to lift the mood a little on the ride back, but the heaviness still lingers. Sadness twists in your gut as you remember the faces of the townsfolk you once knew. People who had welcomed you, people whose stores you visited, whose homes you'd seen with your family. Now they're hollow, driven only by the urge to kill you. The memory hits harder than you'd like. You reach for a spot on your back where an old wound started to ache, maybe even opened up again. But you can't reach it. Cursing softly, you drop your hand, feeling both exhausted and helpless. Leon moves closer, crouching beside you. His face is unreadable as his gaze shifts towards your wounds, something unspoken flickering in his eyes. Can I? Yes. You hesitate, that mix of bone-deep exhaustion and something deeper, something hard to name, unsettling you. But after a beat, you nod. His hands move to your back, the press of his fingers steady, careful, the touch is firm yet gentle. You feel the warmth of his fingertips, the weight of his focus, and you flinch, unprepared for the unexpected tenderness. A lump rises in your throat, and you realize that it's been years since anyone has touched you like this, with such care. It hits you harder than any wound could. Did it hurt? No. You keep your gaze fixed ahead, focusing on the sharp, earthy smell of the herbs rather than the heat of his hands on your skin, but it's impossible to ignore him completely. He asks where the spare gauze is, and you mumble its location, barely aware of the words leaving your mouth. When he finishes, his thumbs lingers, grazing over your skin as if he can't quite bring himself to let go. Your pulse races, an involuntary reaction you're certain he feels under his fingertips. The realization snaps you out of it, and you push yourself up quickly, turning to face him. Thank you. The words die on your lips as you catch sight of him, a half-formed laugh bubbling up instead. Leon tilts his head, confused. What? What happened? His hair is tangled with cobwebs and a bit of dust, probably from when he reached up for the gauze to try to hold back your amusement, but it's impossible. Nothing, spider boy. Leon's hand immediately goes to his head, fingers brushing through his hair. Perfect. Just the look I was going for. Dungeon chic. Your laughter spills over, breaking the silence. There's too much webbing. He can't seem to clear it. No, idiot. Here, let me do it. He goes still as you reach for him, fingers working carefully through the strands of his hair. The room falls quiet again, the silence thickening around you as you pick out each bit of webbing. His breath slows, deepens, and when your fingers brush against his scalp, you feel his chest rise, a slight hitch in his breath. You keep moving, but there's a strange awareness between you, a heightened focus in each movement, each accidental bunch of your fingers. For a moment, he lifts his eyes, meeting yours. They're darker, softer, watching you with an intensity that makes your heart skip. You can feel the warmth of him, smell the faint scent of gunpowder and leather that clings to him, and when his gaze drops to your mouth, he lets out a breath. Small, almost soundless, but heavy. His shoulders tense, like he's holding himself back, fighting some internal battle. Your pulse hammers, your fingers pausing in his hair, frozen by the realization that his hand is hovering close to your waist, close enough that you feel its warmth even without the touch. The moment stretches, something electric in the air between you both, your breath mingling in the charged quiet. Pull back? Or wait? You pause, holding his gaze for a second longer, the air thickening between you. Leon shifts, blinking as if breaking a spell, then shakes his head, taking a half step back, his eyes darting everywhere but at you. You clear your throat, hoping you can't hear the faint tremor in it. I'll take first watch tonight. You should rest. He watches you, almost like he's about to argue, but something in your expression, maybe in his own exhaustion, stops him. He gives a small, reluctant nod, then settles down on the couch. You watch as he finally lets his guard drop, even if only for a moment, his shoulders relaxing into the cushions as his eyes fall shut. You glance down at your fingers, the tingle lingering, reminding you of the warmth that's still caught between you both. The warmth of the sunset fades slowly, casting the room in muted shadows, soft and heavy. You settle onto the floor, flamethrower in hand, half alert to every shift, every quiet sound from where Leon sleeps. Despite the pull of exhaustion, you resist, staying alert, eyes sharp as you keep watch. Just as your mind begins to drift, a soft, choked sound pierces the silence, half muffled, yet unmistakable. Leon stirs restlessly, his face twisted in the dim light, caught in the throes of whatever nightmares haunt him. The faint pain sounds feel like a punch to the chest, striking too close. You can't bear it. Without thinking, you cross the room, sitting beside him, and place a hand on his shoulder, gently shaking him awake. Leon, wake up. His eyes fly open, wide and unfocused, his gaze meeting yours with a mix of fear and confusion. His breath is uneven, and for a moment he doesn't move, doesn't speak, as though he's still trapped somewhere else. Slowly his gaze sharpens, taking in the familiar surroundings. He rubs a shaky hand over his face, his forehead damp with sweat. A faint shiver runs through him. You're unused to offering comfort, unfamiliar with the vulnerability of it, but you remember small, distant gestures, how your parents would hold you, ground you when the night grew too dark. Is he hyperventilating? I didn't catch that. Is he? Just take it one breath at a time. Leon takes a slow, shaky breath, mirroring your calm inhale, his chest rising in sync with yours. A hint of relief crosses his face as he follows your lead, his breaths becoming steadier with each inhale. Acting on instinct, leaning closer, your hand lingering on his shoulder, his body shifts towards yours, unconsciously seeking out warmth and steadiness. He presses closer, his hands finding its way to the small of your back, to the small spot on your back? His fingers flexing as if he's searching for something solid to hold on to. It's too much. I know. I don't know what scares me more, the things I've seen or the idea that this might be the rest of my life. I barely remember what normal even feels like. Without thinking, you pull him in tighter, committing the feel of his warmth and the steady press of his weight against you to memory. I get it. I wish I didn't, but I do. He hums softly, a soft halfway between relief and resignation, his tension melting as he lets himself lean into you. His breathing steadies, and for a moment the two of you are wrapped in a shared silence, the kind that feels less empty and more whole. You start to imagine just for a second what a life like this would be, where these quiet, stolen moments aren't so rare, where his touch isn't fleeting. Then, as if sensing the shift, he abruptly pulls back. His gaze drops, and he clears his throat, a barrier rising against between you. Thanks. I'll keep watch now. I won't be able to fall asleep anyway. He rises to his feet, stepping toward the kitchen, but not before you catch a brief flicker in his eyes. A look that mirrors the feeling that's still lingering on your skin, the strange, subtle ache left by his warmth. Silently, you take his spot on the couch, your mind spinning, replaying the warmth, closeness, the way he held on to you for that brief, charged moment. You know the rest won't come easily tonight. He watches her as she sleeps, her face softened in the quiet peace of it. The comfort between them tonight had been good, too good, unnervingly so. He shouldn't let himself get so attached. He knows better than anyone how quickly trauma binds people, weaving fragile connections from shared pain. But soon he will be gone, off to fight some other nightmare in some cursed place. She can still have a life after this, something steady, something real, something he gave up a long time ago. It's too late for him. He's been carrying this weight for far too long to think he could ever put it down. The idea of a future, of a life beyond fight, hovers in the back of his mind like a cruel joke, something he refuses to reach for. He won't let himself hope for anything beyond survival. Hope is dangerous. He can't afford it. You wake to the soft light of the early morning, filtering through the sealed windows, a quiet stillness hanging in the air. For a moment, you let yourself lie there, gathering the fractured pieces of last night into your mind. His warmth, the way he leaned into your embrace before pulling away. The echo of it lingers, a faint ache that tightens in your chest. But when you finally sit up, any trace of that moment is gone. Leon stands near the door, his back to you as he checks his gear, his movements sharp and efficient, a steely resolve masking any vulnerability he's shown. He doesn't look at you, doesn't even acknowledge your presence as your eyes. The contrast is jarring, the memory of last night's closeness dissolving into the cold distance of his posture. Breakfast is on the table. Eat, we need to move. You frown, an edge of frustration tugging at you. His tone is clipped, his eyes hard as he straps on his gear, every action radiating an almost palpable wall of distance. It's as if he's put up another layer of armor overnight, shutting you out entirely. Good morning to you too. He pauses, and for a split second, you catch a flicker of something almost guilty on his face, but it's gone as quickly as it disappears, his gaze hardening as he turns back to his gear. How do you feel? Fine. Don't get the wrong idea about yesterday. His words sting, colder than he expected. You glare, refusing to let him see how much they affect you. Same, it didn't mean anything. You're still insufferable. Good. Good. You square your shoulders, swallowing down your own frustration as you gather your things, each movement pointed and deliberate. After last night, this cold detachment feels like a slap, a calculated retreat back into distance. One more stop, and then you're nearly free of this hellhole and everyone in it, right? He glances at you, his jaw tightening as if holding back a response. For a second, you wonder if he'll soften, but his face stays set, a mask of indifference. Right. It's a dismissal, plain and simple. You force yourself to look unfazed as you gulp down the breakfast he prepared, refusing to let him see how much of a sudden shift has gotten under your skin. The silence between you is thick and heavy, each of you moving with a determination that borders on anger. Spend the day logging equipment back and forth to your hideout near the lab, loading up on fuel and explosives, taking turns on Leon's bike. The work is grueling, made worse by the tense silence that lingers between you. You barely speak, and when you do, it's clipped and cold, a silent truce at best. By the time you reach the church, the sun is dipping low, casting the place in a shadowed crimson glow. Everything feels on edge. You can't tell if it's him or the damn mission. You test the door, but it's locked tight, so you and Leon find an open window, pushing aside scattered debris as you climb inside. The smell hits you immediately. Thick decay clinging to the air like a warning. Your stomach twists. The interior is in disarray. Overturned pews, shattered glass littering the floor, dried bloodstains smeared on the walls. Near the altar, bones and tattered clothing lie in a haphazard pile, some looking fresher than others. A chill runs down your spine. Have the townsfolk been using this place for sacrifice? Moving cautiously, you scan the key card until Leon gestures up to the wooden balcony, pointing out to a white lab coat hanging loosely over the railing. A skeleton slumps over it, twisted and limp. I'll go get it. No, I will. His gaze snaps at you, cold and challenging. If you're so eager to get yourself killed, go find some other way to do it. You clench your fist, stepping up to him. Close enough to see the hard line of his jaw. The man grates on you, always assuming he knows best. The frustration, the tension, is coiled so tight in your chest you can barely think straight. If I wanted your opinion, I'd ask for it. Don't pretend you give a damn about me. The venom in your voice cuts through the air. And for a second, you think you see something flicker in his eyes, something dark like frustration, but edged with something hotter. He opens his mouth to reply, but before you can, a slow, wet scraping sound echoes through the church, dragging along the floor. The sun dips lower, casting an ominous red glow over the scene, creatures inside the church. Leon doesn't hesitate. He grabs your arm and pulls you toward a shadowed corner where a small confession booth stands. You resist, glancing back at the mask that fell to the ground as he tugged you forward, but his grip tightens, dragging you into the cramped space before you can think twice. You barely make it inside before the heavy footsteps close in, filling the silence with a sickening shuffle. The pheromones hit you first, a heady, overpowering scent, sugary and dark, coating your senses like a blanket you can't escape. Your skin prickles with heat, a flush creeping up your cheeks, your pulse quickening. You bite your lip, struggling to resist the hazy, tingling sensation coursing through you. Leon's jaw tightens, his eyes narrowing as he fights the same effect. His breaths are shallow, each exhale brushing warm against your neck. His hand finds yours, the contact grounding electric all at once. With trembling fingers, you rip open a mothball package, thrusting it close to both of your noses. It helps, but not enough. The creatures slink past outside, their scent hanging in the air, winding its way into every inch of you, heightening the tension between you and Leon. You cling to his arm, feeling the tautness of his muscles as he restrains himself, his body coiled, almost as if he's battling the urge to open the door and pursue them. Yet his hand remains firm on yours, holding you in place, anchoring you to the moment. As the creatures finally shuffle away, a tense silence fills the booth. Your hand grips the door handle, ready to chase after them, but Leon's strong grip closes over yours, holding it shut. His strength catches you off guard, and you whirl to face him, anger flaring. Leon, let go. You're not going after them. But yeah, we can't go, because their scent draws you to them. So that would kill us instantly, no? That would get us insta-killed, I think, if we went after them right now. Argue? The words ignite something fierce inside you. Without a second thought, you push him hard, pinning him against the wall. His jaw clenches, his eyes flashing with surprise and something else, darker, more open. He's still, as you hold him there, waiting, his gaze steady but filled with a challenge, almost staring you. Who the hell do you think you are? You think you can just walk in here and make everything right? You've only made things worse since you showed up. I can't wait for you to leave so I can forget all this, forget that you were even here. The words hit him hard. You could see the anger flash across his face, mixed with something hurt. But instead of pushing back, he just looks at you, his voice thick with frustration. Trust me, I can't wait to forget about you too. You reckless stubborn. You cut him off, slamming him against the wall, your lips meeting his in a desperate, furious clash. There's no thought, no caution, just raw need spilling over, the culmination of days of pent-up frustration. His hands find your waist, his fingers digging possessively as he pulls you closer. Every movement is charged. The intensity crackling between you both is not soft, not gentle. There's only anger and desire, tangled up in a way that neither of you can control. A low, almost pleading sound escapes him, a crack in his control, as he turns you around, pressing you firmly but against the rough wood. His lips trail down your neck, lingering with each breath, his touch reverent and hesitant, as though he's barely holding back the flood of need beneath the surface. There's a tremble in his fingers as he slides your pants down. His urgency betraying him, but his hands pause, tracing the curve of your hips with a tenderness that catches you off guard. He lowers his own pants. I thought the free version didn't have the... Whoa! This is what everyone's playing.